everybody. Welcome to our very first PowerPoint on lab safety. This is just an overview of the rules. I know that we are not in person in lab doing experiments where there are dangerous things around. That being said, these rules are very universal for any sort of lab that you would be a part of in the future. So it's important that we understand them now as a foundation for the rest of your biology career. Your objectives are to demonstrate appropriate behavior in the lab and adhering to safety rules, knowing where all the safety equipment is and what it is, being able to manage your time effectively, and to explain how to return or dispose of microscopes, glassware, lab equipment, microscope slides, pipettes, that sort of thing. Oh, come on. Okay, so while you are looking at Top Hat, you'll see the preface for the safety rules. And these were all made by the biology staff at Trident Tech. And it's basically just a document that you should read, telling you that students can't be in the lab without an instructor. They have to get their supplies when the instructor tells them to, that there is a set of rules by DHEC, OSHA, and Trident Tech that you cannot eat, drink, use tobacco products, put on makeup, do anything to touch your face or any sort of surface that could ingest things while you are in the lab. It also has you wear protective clothing and goggles. You cannot wear open-toed shoes. So basically, you must have closed-toed shoes. You should know where an eye wash, a safety shower, a first aid, and fire extinguisher are, as well as how to leave the lab. You would not open gas valves or leave burners unattended. You carry microscopes with two hands, and you clean them before you use them and after you use them. And you only use a Kimi wipe and glass cleaner instead of any other cleaning supplies. When you dissect things, you have to wear gloves and goggles. You don't hold anything in your hand while you cut it. You cut away from yourself, and you dispose of blades in the sharp waste container when you are done. You keep all work areas clean, and you never eat or taste any of the materials, even if they are food things like sugar or salt water. You still don't put them in your mouth. And you report any unsafe conditions. Again, that being said, you're not really doing any of these things because you are not in a lab. You're in your home or a library or wherever you're taking this class. But these are pretty general rules for all biology classes. So it's a good thing to familiarize ourselves with them. And then basically on the top hat, you will sign that you understand these safety rules. And that is it for safety rules, really, on Top Hat to get your credit. Okay, so let's get a little more specific on things that, again, you will use virtually, but are very important for like the quizzes and the practical exams. So microscopes should be handled with care. You should hold them by the arm and by the base, and with two hands, and you clean them before you use them and when you're done using them. In order to properly store them, you put the dust cover back on them and you put them in the cabinet they came from. And to clean them, you use a lens cleaner and lens wipes. You don't use anything else. And we go over this when we talk more specifically about microscopes in the microscope lab. We never ever taste any kind of chemicals, even if they are something that is normally a thing you eat, like sugar or salt or lemons. Still, if they are in a lab setting, you don't put them in your mouth and you don't eat them. If you spill something on your skin, obviously it's going to fall off. Just kidding. That's not always true. But there are safety showers in a lab. And if you were to spill a chemical that is caustic or would cause burns, you remove your clothing that contains those chemicals, and then you would go under a safety shower. The reason you remove the clothing with the chemical on it is if you kept, for example, your shirt on that you spilled acid on and then you turn on the water, it then would, bleed through the rest of your shirt and get all over your body. Whereas if you took it off, it would just be washing it off your skin. We also wear safety goggles when we use chemicals in the lab. That is to protect your eyes so that if chemicals were to spill or to explode is the wrong word maybe, but backsplash into your face, it would not get into your eyes. Where we see these types of things in Bio 101 is in our pH lab and in our biochemistry lab, as well as a little bit in our DNA technology when we're using our solutions. Oops. So when something breaks that is glass, there is a proper way to dispose of it, and that is usually to call the instructor. As much fun as it is for you to clean up glass, if you get cut in a lab, then there's a lot of paperwork, whereas the instructor could be bleeding from a glass wound and it's way less paperwork. In general, though, all of that broken glass would go into a sharps container. You've probably seen these before. They're usually red and they say sharp objects on them with a caution symbol. Or there is a broken glassware container that if it's specifically glass, it would go into. We always, always, always clean up lab equipment and put everything back in its proper place and clean up a lab table before leaving the lab. So again, this is just common courtesy in all labs. For this semester, of course, you would be at your own home doing a virtual lab, but some of the virtual labs even will require you to clean up before it lets you be done with that virtual lab. All right.